Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Killer Collab Podcast. My name is Tone Deaf from Florida, Tony D. And to my left, as always, I'm joined with Chris Lato from Reaper Films.
Howdy.
Hello, sir.
What's up?
You good?
Great.
Unfortunately, Joe Davison was unable to, due to scheduling conflicts, was not able to join us. Joe Davison is not here. Joe Davison's not here. Okay. And joining us, special guests for the show, Killer Collab Podcast, Austin Janowsky.
Fair morrow, gentlemen. Fair morrow. Good morning.
Hello.
Joe Davison's not here. Joe Davison's not here.
Paging Joe Davison. Oh, well.
Yes.
You know, his loss, I mean, he's just usually just high on the, and just talks about
On
it.
life.
Yeah. Oh, well. So welcome. Good morning, Joe. I mean, Austin. Sorry. I'm used to Joe being here and yelling at me for some no reason. So usually what we do, we introduce the guest, and then we pretty much, give them a rundown of who you are and what they may know you from, and we're going to go
Sure.
from there. So, Austin, give us a rundown of what my viewers and listeners will be able to see you in or what you have worked on recently.
All right. So I am a professional comic book artist since 1994. That's 28 years.
Wow.
Working on Iron Man and X-Men for Marvel and Image and IDW and a bunch of other companies. As an actor, I've worked on Black Veil, Dan Marks and Jeffrey Reddick's series. I have a TV series coming out next year that I can't talk about because it's NDA.
Ooh.
And a movie called 48 Seconds that will be on Netflix. It's supposed to be this fall. But
Ooh, that's fantastic. That's exciting. What kind of movie is that?
it's a thriller,
Very nice.
suspense thriller. Yeah, it's a robbery sort of film. I play a detective. And
Nice.
horror-wise, other stuff, I'm on Joe Davison's series South of Central.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
Joe actually wrote a couple of stories for my zombie series, Zombies Were Human Too.
Nice.
It's a comic book series. So,
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And we just started working on season 2. Has he talked to you about that yet? We just wrote one episode so far, but he's just getting in there. But season 2 of South Essential starting actually should be next week. We're start shooting the first episode.
Yep.
So that's
Yep.
fun.
So I played Paul Hammerstone in the series. I play a lawyer. Yeah. A scrupulous lawyer.
Unscrupulous.
Yes. So,
Yeah, Joe seems to have a lot of fun with that show. I watched the first full season, and then he's bringing the series to actually this channel, Real People, Real Content on YouTube. So he's branching out to expand the viewership and joining us totally on our channel. So that's going to be definitely good to the
Awesome.
larger audience.
yeah, that's great, man.
Will Joe be joining us today?
Today, no, paging Joe Davison. Paging Joe Davison. You're needed. You're needed. Your parents are here. They're looking for you tirelessly. He's actually starting at the Phantasm. I think he's starting shooting over there at Phantasm. I think that's next weekend or something like that.
It's this weekend. Yeah, Phantasm Orlando this weekend
Yeah.
at the Rosen Single Creek Resort in Orlando. Yep.
Yep. So he's actually going to be shooting an episode there. So I was actually supposed to go there, but I unfortunately have other obligations that I must take hold of. I was supposed to shoot it, but unfortunately I could not. But are you going to be there?
Yeah, I'm a guest at the show that weekend. So
Oh,
he's
fantastic.
planning to shoot my scene on Sunday,
Nice.
I think. Saturday or Sunday, depending on how things are busy.
Yeah.
It's a really cool show. It's its second year, but it's 3 years in. The ownership is really great. I did the first year and had a really good time. They got really Spooky Empire has great guests,
Mhm.
but it's mostly men, whereas Phantasm is mostly women,
Oh.
which is pretty cool. And they have a lot of Halloween actors and all that from the previous films are going to be at the show. So I'm pretty stoked about that too.
Really? I didn't know that.
What show is this? Phantasm?
Phantasm Orlando.
Phantasm Orlando.
come
Yeah,
I don't know
they've
about
got two. They got 2 out of the 3 main actors that played Michael.
Oh. Castle's gonna be
couple
there.
of the. Sorry.
Frank Castle's gonna be there. Not Frank Castle. What's his first name? Nick Castle.
Nick Castle.
I think if he is, he is. There was one that canceled. I can't remember which one it was.
Okay.
Yeah, but the one,
The old
but,
cancel.
Yeah. Well, he's
Yeah,
he's the oldest one. He was the original.
So I was
no,
supposed
the original. No, original. He will be there. Yeah,
Oh, okay. Oh, wow.
yeah, he will be there. Yep.
I was supposed to go to a concert, a 3-day concert over the weekend, last weekend with my kid, and I was going to drive up Saturday. It started Friday. We were going Saturday and Sunday, and 30 minutes before the gates open on Friday, they canceled the entire show, the whole weekend.
Wow.
Holy Jesus.
Yeah, I'm like, what is happening? They said the grounds were too wet. I'm like, this is a freaking rock like metal show, and they're crying about mud. I was like, really?
Yeah.
So I guess the fire marshal shut them down or something. So now I'm gonna have to jump. I got to jump through like 82 hoops to get my money back.
3 months. Yeah.
Oh, that sucks.
So anyway, back to Phantasm. So is this it's a horror convention?
Yeah, it's a horror convention. Yeah.
No shit.
Yeah.
And it's in Orlando, and it's this weekend coming up.
Yeah, it's this weekend. Yeah, at the Rosen Shingle Creek Resort.
Is
It's
it Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or just Saturday?
Friday. Yeah. Nope. Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Wow.
Yeah.
What's it cost to get in? Do you know?
No, I don't know.
Free for you, right? Because you're a guest.
Yeah, it's free for me.
I'll have to look this up.
Are you on one of the
I didn't
panels,
know
or do you have
anything
a
about
booth?
it. It's crazy.
Actually, I'm one of the guests, so I get to hang out with the cool people up with the other actors and stuff like that. So.
Oh, very nice.
Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, I get to be at the high tables.
I'm usually all over this stuff. Like I don't know why I don't know about this thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Chris, it's funny. They've got a film festival going on that weekend and all sorts of stuff.
Oh, that's nuts! Because the only person I see promoting it is Joe Davison. I don't even actually see any. Like I see him on Instagram and on Facebook. Yeah, he did a couple of promos for it. But I haven't seen anything otherwise. Like I haven't seen any advertisements for it, especially
really.
And I'm in all the groups too.
I'm surprised they're kind of competing with Spooky. That's kind of interesting.
Okay, so
Spooky's what?
Yeah,
next month or this October.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's later on in the month.
Yeah,
because I'm supposed to be.
If it's in the same month, that's competing. Like that's, if I'm going to spend money on a convention.
Oh, but look at all the conventions that everyone missed because of the pandemic. So people are just just getting out of that.
Go to stuff.
Well, and also recoup some of the income that they've missed, especially during the circuit of conventions. I know there was a lot of missed opportunities that they had during that time. So.
Sure.
So I guess that could be an example of that too. But I don't know if they're competing technically. They could be just expanding the community, the horror community. Which and you said this Phantasm is mostly females, right?
Yeah, there's mostly the female coming to the show guest wise. There might be a few more, but that's how it was. I know they got like 2 or 3 to fill the gap of other ones that were supposed to come that ended up canceling. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, speaking of the pandemic, so I was at C2E2 right when the pandemic was starting. And I was supposed to do San Diego. I was supposed to do New York Comic Con. I was supposed to do all these big shows. And I missed them all.
Yeah.
And even this past year, MegaCon was my first big show that I had done. And we had to wear masks. You could not be in the show unless you wore masks.
Yep.
And that's pretty much the norm now. If any event you want to go to, you have to wear a mask indoors. Right. It's enforced. They won't allow it because shows cannot afford to lose another year. Like they can maybe miss 1 year. Right. If they miss 2 years, they're done. They're screwed. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So to your point, yeah. Normally you would be competing if there's 2 big horror shows. But I think I know Spooky is 3 days. People just want to do an event. I think they're more than happy to go to a couple because horror fans, they do like 6 or 8 horror shows a year. Right. They weren't able to do any. They have they're jonesing.
They had Sinister Nights in Miami, which was their first year, and like all the guests canceled. Like it was pretty crazy. I know Joe went to that one, but I know there was like 4 or 5 guests that were supposed to be there, and they all canceled Felissa Rose, Kane Hodder, a couple other ones, and
Yeah.
I heard it wasn't so great. Was MegaCon? How was MegaCon as far as attendance and stuff?
So it was steady for all 3 days. We didn't have that big push on Saturday. It was about 25% down what it normally is. But we were good overall, and I made good money. MegaCon isn't really a big money maker for me. It used to be, but it's more of a fandom show. Comics are kind of like the third tier down,
Right.
and I've got my fans that come to the shows and see me, but the regular people don't normally do it. But this past year, everyone was going through and buying all sorts of stuff, which was great.
We went to Tampa Comic Con and it wasn't so great. We went on Friday, which may have had something to do with it. No, actually, we went Saturday, and it was like the attendance was not good, and the vendors too. Like there was usually in Tampa Comic Con, the whole front row is just all comic book vendors, and it was maybe half of that, if that.
Well, they weren't promoting. Yeah, they weren't promoting guests. You didn't really know who was going to be there.
Yeah,
and the reason
not good either. Like there was.
Yeah,
I think the biggest name there was the guy that played Boba Fett and the little kid in Clone Wars.
Logan. Logan something or other. Well, they got bought out. Cool guy, Tampa Bay Comic Con. FanX bought that.
Oh.
So that was the transition that they had bought them right before the show was going to start. So they just kind of ran it because they had, people had paid money for whatever. But up until like previous years, booths were sold out. Like you couldn't get one. And they were like basically harassing me to want to get a booth. I'm like, I'm not interested in it.
Yeah, my kid was going to get one because he works up there at Epic Comics in Orlando. And him and two other guys were going to get a table, and our comic book for Naked Cannibal Campers had just come out. So I was like, man, let me, I'll give you $50. Let me come up there Saturday and, sell the comic books. And he was like, yeah, sure. Well, all the guests started canceling, and they basically bailed. Like they didn't end up buying the table because of that. They felt like the attendance was going to be down.
Yeah, it was.
Wow.
Yeah.
But it's the world we live. It's just so unpredictable now. You just don't know. Like I mean, there's a lot of shows, but there's not like people. I don't know.
Right.
You just never know if people are going to show up.
It sucks. And then I'm wanting to buy tickets to Rockville now, which is a 4-day festival up in Daytona. And for me and my kid to go for 2 days is going to be like $500 something. And now I'm kind of like, do I want to drop this money and then, a week before the show they cancel it, and then you got to jump through a million hoops to get your money back? Like, it's kind of making me leery now to go ahead and buy tickets to anything, really, just because everything's so sketchy.
Yeah. Well, a lot of states are still in like lockdown, so a lot of guests for these conventions and bands are like stuck in these states where they're still locked down.
But then what's funny is you turn on college football on Saturday and the Wisconsin Badgers stadium is full.
Yeah.
And nobody's wearing masks. Like, it's just it's crazy.
So I don't know what the difference in jurisdictions or what's going on. I know New Jersey's still pretty. I think they're just opening up. Largely. Same thing with New York. I think they're just doing, the bare minimum just to get open. So I really don't know what state or what state these states are in for this, pandemic. So I really don't know. Like I said, it's unpredictable. You don't know.
And it's weird. You think
California too.
You think with all the sports sports games going on.
Yeah.
You got college football, you got pro football, you got baseball. I mean, all this stuff going on. And you think that the numbers would be going up, but I don't think they are.
Yeah. Well, every game you watch in the NFL, they're sold out everywhere.
Yeah, they're all sold out.
Everywhere.
And you got to think, all right, so just, I don't know why I keep thinking Wisconsin, but you want to go to Wisconsin? No, I don't. I don't even care about Wisconsin. But anyway, you got the Badgers game where they got 80,000 people in a stadium watching the Badgers. And then the next day you got the Packers, and they're sold out with 50,000, 60,000 people.
Yeah.
Like you think Wisconsin would be like all their numbers would be crazy right now, but
Yeah.
I don't think they are.
Maybe they have good,
Good genes in Wisconsin.
or vaccination numbers.
Maybe it's
a lot of these
it's-
states have better vaccination numbers than we do in Florida.
Maybe because they're so like their bitter cold makes their immune system really strong.
No, that actually makes it more weak. That's when you get cold and pneumonia and flu. But I don't know. So you said you were working on a project now. What was it? 40? What was it called?
45 seconds.
45
yeah,
seconds.
it's all done and everything. It's completed, and
Let me
they're
guess.
supposed
They
to
gotta
be.
rob the bank in 45 seconds.
Yeah, I guess so. Or they have 45 seconds to do whatever they had to do. I know. I played Detective Beagle. It's been a few years. They had it completed. The pandemic shut it down, and yeah, it's still slated for Netflix. I just don't know when.
So when you were on set, did you have like a whole bunch of different protocols to do for the pandemic stuff, or was it?
Well, I think it was before that, right?
It was made before.
No,
the
it was
pandemic?
before. Yeah, it was shot before the pandemic. Yeah, it's funny. This pandemic thing with film. So I've been on some SAG productions that didn't follow protocols hardly at all, and then I was on some non-union stuff where they checked temperatures and they wanted you to get tested and everything like that. It's kind of a case by case that and how to do things.
Yeah.
I'm just doing my own self-protection. I wear masks all the time, but that's for me.
Yeah.
Right. I want to make sure that I'm doing what I can to protect myself and whatever. I'm vaccinated and all that, because really I wanted to be able to cruise. That's kind of what we're like. All right,
absolutely.
we're going to cruise. We need to get vaccinated. That's why.
Right.
And then it's also
that's why we did it too. I mean,
Yeah.
we want to travel and to kind of force in your hand.
Yeah. Right. So I'm in a film called The Lady Makers with Jasmine Guy, where I'm shooting my scenes next week up in Atlanta. And I said, so what are the protocols? And they go, well, we'll just, wear your mask and then we'll check your temperature. I'm like, okay, but this is a SAG production, right? Yes. Isn't there like a officer or someone to do? There's a big book, right, of like SAG procedures that you have to follow. I thought, well, it's a medium SAG budget. It's not a full SAG production.
Oh, strange.
Did you say Jasmine Guy?
Yeah, Jasmine Guy.
Like
yeah,
Whitley from a different world. Where's she been?
She's been doing a lot of different TV.
Really?
Yeah.
God, I don't think I've seen
Surprisingly.
her ever.
That's so funny. I'm like, really? So I checked her up. Like, oh, she's been on this. Oh, she's been on this. Oh, that's interesting.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
It's funny because whenever I post for something like a casting for a movie or a music video or something, some guy always comments on mine, COVID officer ? And I'm like, dude, this is like a $3,000 movie. Like, get off my page. It's like ridiculous.
Yeah. I've got a few productions I want to do that I'm putting on hold till next year, just on the off chance that things can slow down and we can ease things up a little bit. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
I mean, we made 2 movies.
Yeah.
In the middle of everything. We started in
July. We were pretty low key though.
Yeah, small cast and
small crew.
Kind of stayed away from each other for the most part.
Yeah.
But we didn't have any problems.
Yeah, and we were outdoors pretty much for one of them.
Yeah.
Like so that
one was outdoors, one was pretty much all indoors.
Yeah.
But
yeah. I mean, like it's a case to case, especially with big productions. You have so many different people. Like you've got 50 people on set, like on those big.
Oh yeah.
So you have to have certain different protocols for that as well. So compared to what we had 5 people total on the set. So it's a definitely different thing.
Different when I'm the whole crew.
Yeah. Oh no, yeah, absolutely. So, do you have anything else that you're working on production wise? Are you write as well? You do the comics?
So I have a Christmas book called Stanley the Snowman that's being published by Scout Comics, and the graphic novel will be in stores Christmas time.
Fantastic. That's a quick turnaround. That's a quick turnaround.
Like, what do you do? So I know you made Dawn of the Dead comic book. What
Yeah.
do you do? Like, how do you distribute it? Do you just sell them at shows and stuff, or do you actually go through a distributor to get them in stores?
So, for books that I've created for film projects, usually that's just for them as a marketing tool to help promote their film or TV show or whatever. That's kind of the goal of it. I have a few publishers that I'm working with. One Second Sight, one is Scout, and then I have my own Tin Sky. And Diamond is the distributor for comic books.
Right.
Now I've got Stanley with Scout that's going nationwide. My Divine Retribution, which is a Angel series, Angel Fantasy series, that's going nationwide. That's through Second Sight. That's through Diamond, which got sold out at the retailer level, which was very cool. So that's going on the actual series. We'll start next year. We have a director's cut that will be in previews next month. Will be out by January, and then we'll do whatever. And then I have that series starting in February. So I've got a bunch of comic book stuff that's going on. Either I've written or I'm help, getting film stuff, putting out books to help promote their films and everything. But to answer your question, yeah, we'll sell at shows and we'll have comps and everything like that to help promote. But it's usually going through a distributor with my stuff, which is nice.
So when you go through Diamond, is it first of all, I've heard they're a nightmare to deal with. Is that the case?
Yeah.
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 And then two, how many copies do they require to distribute? Like, is there a certain amount of copies that you have to give them to sell, or is it any?
Yeah.
Any
the threshold for ordering is usually 2,500. That's what they're looking for. That's minimum.
All right.
Because that covers for shipping costs with them and everything like that.
Right.
And you really want that kind of number if for yourself to kind of break even and try to make some money from them for the ordering.
So if you did a $2,500 run, a 2,500 copy run, what do you make on that roughly? Profit.
So if normal comic books run $3.99, $4.
Mm-hmm.
After costs, I think stores are getting or publishers are getting 80 cents a book, all said and done.
Doesn't it cost you more to make the book? What does it cost you to make the book?
Yeah, it can. It depends on what, for printing costs and everything that you're going through too. You know what I mean?
Well, that's what I mean. To print a copy of a comic book, I would think that's pretty close to 80 cents or more, right?
Yeah, it is.
So you're basically breaking even or losing money on a $2,500 copy. Yeah. Racket.
Man, you were making comic books
it's no different
for the love, man.
Yeah.
You're not making it to make money.
So it's no different than movie distribution, basically. So, and music and so if you're an artist, it's pretty much impossible to make any money nowadays because all the big companies are making all the money. Like you put a movie on Amazon and you get all these hits, and Amazon's probably making $1,000 and you're making a dollar. I'm getting checks for $1 put in my account for a quarter. I'm talking about a quarter of sales. I get $1.
Oh,
yeah.
It's crazy.
So as a comic book creator, how do you come up with these ideas? Like the scenes that you draw in certain blocks, how do you think of all of that creation? You know what I mean? The different I don't know, when you see someone punching somebody in a comic book, how do you come up no really, because where would you come up with that stuff?
Where do you come up with these dumb questions, Tony?
It's not a dumb question. It's not a dumb question. It's something how a mind works when you're creating comics. Because we all have different minds. When I'm shooting something, I have an idea of how I want it to portray on the scene, but on a block, you have to draw that, and you have to actually make that from your mind to pen to paper and make that scene come to life and have people understand what's going on in your head. You know what I mean? So it's a lot different than camera. Camera, you can perceive it because you can actually, but you have to, in a comic book and a drawing, you have to make that come to life for the viewer. So it's how did I don't even know how that even processes. Like it's just mind-boggling to me because you have to actually see that to portray it on the block, and so
Yeah.
it's just it's
All right.
it's like wow to me. It's like a painting. Like I don't like when these big artists like Da Vinci or Van Gogh, when they put something up, they have something in their mind for each individual block of that painting.
Right.
So
I think it's just an artist's mind. I mean, they, you know,
Yeah.
like Beethoven could look at keys and just play it. Like I think everybody has something else in them that they can do. And Austin's is make comic book blocks.
So, to answer your question, yes, it is an artistic mind, but it is the ability to take the picture that's in your head and recreate it using your hand to draw it out.
Yes.
Everyone can draw. I say that everyone can draw, and it might not be great, and it might not be good, but everyone can do something and think of like a line and make a line on a piece of paper. They can kind of do that.
Yeah.
The problem that people have is they think, well, it's not as good as this. Well, you're not trying to be a professional artist. You're an artist. You can do so. So how am I able to do that? Or how are other people able to do that? When I got into film, because I was in film about, God, not even 6 years now. And writing scripts for film, it's completely different than writing scripts for comic books. Because a lot of the details in the scripts are done on set, right? You have basic breakdowns of how you want the scene to be, but once you're on set, you got your lighting, you got your camera angles, and you've got your sound, and then you got your actors, and then you're building that scene that you have here on the fly.
Yeah.
Right? You have moving parts. So with comic books, you have to be very descriptive on your breakdown. When you have an idea, you break that down per issue. From issue, you break it down per page. Per page is by pen. And there's different descriptions, and you describe like, okay, I have a wide panel shot.
Yeah.
And Jim running to the right towards his, towards blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? So you're kind of breaking it down so they can say, okay, they can follow what's going on. Then from there, when you're drawing it, it's all building block process. What I do is I used to do stick figures as kind of a basic setup.
Yeah.
And then from stick figures, you're actually building characters. Once you have characters, you set up, you draw backgrounds, and you go from there. And it's all learning how to draw things and then taking things and putting together. It's like building a set, right?
Yeah.
For a scene.
Yeah.
Same principle. Building
basically,
blocks.
it's like a movie that you're basically the storyboard of a movie, correct?
Absolutely. Yeah. Whatever. I've always, even before I got into film, any comic book that I created, I had the film in my head. And I thought at the time, I'm never going to be in film. This is the closest I can get. This is what I want to do. And that's how I've approached pretty much every film project and every comic book project. It's the same mindset. It's just the different techniques of how to creating what you want to create.
And what's cool about comic books is you have $1 trillion budget. You can make anything you want.
Yeah.
And it doesn't cost you.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, sky's the limit. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it only allows, you have the limit of what your mind can give it, I guess. Your talent of the hand. Because conception, for me, conception is to inception. It's just, like, I can see the scene in my head, but I can't translate it onto a paper. Like, I could write it.
How to draw?
I used to actually be a really good artist.
Like, do you think that people are just born with that talent? Or do you think, and I mean, obviously you can, if you have that talent, you can get better. But like someone like me that I can't draw worth a damn. Do you think someone like me could learn how to draw like a Marvel artist? Or do you think that's just something you're born with?
No, everyone has the ability to learn and get the techniques to draw to the point where they could get hired. Now, there are some people that are just born talented. When I was trying to break into comic books, I had a friend of mine, Tom Chapman. And he was one of those disgustingly talented people. Didn't have to try; he could just do it and do it really well. I had to work at it a lot. It's just one of those things. I had the propensity to do art, and I enjoyed the black and white medium. That's how I could visualize a lot of stuff. 2D black and white was my jam. It's since I was 6 years old. That's kind of like how I drew, and that's how I fell into comic books and became an inker, because I liked finishing a page. I liked the black and white art medium, and that to me I was most comfortable with, and I found the most success. So yeah, anyone can, if they put enough time and effort, they can be competent enough to actually make a page and probably get hired and do some work. Are you going to be at the top level? Probably not, because that's where talent comes in.
Right. Yeah.
The separation between the people that could do this and the 10% of the ones that are really stupidly, they have that God-given talent that can go above the rest. That's where it is.
So it's kind of like athletes too. Like some people are guys that God-given talent, and some of them really have to work on it. Like they got to work on the ABCs of swinging, how to run a base properly. Like there's a lot of people that either have it or they can develop it.
Right.
But are they going to be?
I think you just get it.
Derek Jeter? No, you might not be Derek Jeter, but you could be a who's the shortstop for the Rays?
Wander Franco.
Or they could be that guy. Whatever.
Yeah, Wander Franco is is the 5-tool guy, and then yeah, like some of the other players are like good 2 or 3-tool players. Like they're good. You know what I mean? Like Meadows. Like Meadows is a good hitter and good fielder, but he's maybe he's got some deficiencies in other areas. Right. And then the other people, they can just do everything great. It's just one of those things. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like Conor McGregor. He can fight that like hell, but he can't throw a baseball.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. He threw a first pitch the other night. And
that was brilliant.
He threw it like almost over the freaking seats. Like it was ridiculous.
Well, yeah.
Like this guy has never thrown anything in his entire life.
Yeah.
No.
Well, you can also say, well, the athletes can't necessarily do every sport, Right. But I mean, they might have God-given talent, but they might not be great at everything.
Right. I think that's like me growing up. I played soccer, basketball, football, baseball, and I was good in all of them, but I wasn't like
great
in any of them.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I grew up pretty much playing football and baseball, and football I was okay, I was average, but then in baseball I was all-star for a while, and I went to Division I school, but it just was I like amazing? No, but I was pretty good
enough to play college.
Yeah. Good. So I guess we all have our limits, our ceilings, and some of them have higher ceilings, some of them have higher floors, some of them
Right.
So
yeah.
Do you use a digital tablet to draw, or do you freehand?
It's all traditional. I'm going to be getting into the digital just because after 20 some odd years of doing art by hand, I'm finding I have arthritis in my drawing hand.
That's not good.
So digitally will make it a little bit easier. It's funny, about 6 years ago, my back was about 4 inches out of alignment, just completely out. And just from hunching over and inking and everything and holding your hand a certain way. And it took 6 months of chiropractic to really get things back in shape. I had to relearn how to hold my brush, how to position myself, and change my table, everything to make it easier for me to do art. I have to wrap my brushes now in super squishy soft stuff, because otherwise I'm squishing really hard, which messes the tendons and carpal tunnel, all that crap. Yeah. It's hilarious. You know what I mean?
About, right?
So yeah, digital is the way I'm going to be going. Yeah. And but I was like astonished. That's not real artwork. You're putting energy from your hand into the piece of paper. And now I'm over 50, and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do whatever I want.
Have you used those before?
I want to sit on my lounge and just be able to draw, man. Yeah. My screen's here. I'm drawing right here. It's all about comfort at this point.
Have you ever used those before? The digitals? Have you used those
Hello?
before? The digital
Oh, me?
tablet? Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were talking to him.
Oh.
Yeah, no, I have.
Yeah.
I absolutely have.
Is it like
and
is it a big transition going from what you used to do to that?
yes.
Like, there's a big learning curve?
I have a lot of friends, pro artists who work for Marvel and DC who went digital and they love it. But you have to build your brushes specifically to work with the type of art style that you're doing. There's a lot of presets in building your library of things to be able to do what you want to do. It's not just be able to pick it up and do it. I found out. But like there's iPads. The new iPad is great for it now. It used to be just Wacom. Like the Wacom tablet was like the digital thing.
Yeah.
And then they branched out. Now it's the technology's there that most digital things like iPads, that sort of stuff, has that ability to draw on it, which is good with me because most of it I want to use it for sketching and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Finished art, I still want to try to do traditionally with a brush. I can do a cleaner line and a thinner line than most digital people can do. And the reason I'm saying that is that when you're doing artwork, a lot of the digital artwork is pretty, but it's very clean. It's a little too what's the word I want? It's non-organic.
Processed.
Yeah, it's a little too perfect.
Yeah.
It doesn't look realistic. You know what I mean? And it's a certain style look that you're going for. Whereas, like for horror, you don't want that. Horror is very organic. There's a lot of stuff going on. So digital doesn't necessarily work because it's just so smooth.
Right.
The lines are so smooth and clean, sharp edges. There's no real variations of lines. It's really hard to kind of do it. So there's a lot of stuff that I like. This, you know what I mean? Let's see. That's all brush.
Oh wow, yeah.
Yeah, that's all brushing. So, but I've been doing it for so long, I have that ability to do so. But yeah, because I get contacted for doing storyboarding and stuff like that. It takes me too much time traditionally to do so, but if I have a digital, I can whip things out a lot faster because I don't have to draw big. I can sketch small and then blow it up if I need to. That's the nice ability of digital, is able to blow up and do different things.
And if you mess up, you can just erase it and not have to throw the paper away, right?
What about the paper?
If you mess up, like you don't have to throw the paper away. You can just correct it.
Yeah, I got my nice white paint in case something. Luckily, I've done to the point where I'm pretty good on making mistakes. But yeah, there's been plenty of times like I'll draw something and I'm like, yeah, this sucks, and then just rip it up and try to do something else. Whereas digital is just like Command Z.
Yep.
Like that was like Command Z.
How much paper do you think artists go through? Like, it's nuts. How they talk about waste of paper and trees and everything, but artists, wow, they go through it. I know when I'm writing anything, like I ball of paper, I'm like I have a pile of like 3 feet high when I'm done drawing or writing something. So it's like,
yeah,
I can't imagine how much paper is wasted on certain artists because they just get frustrated, especially the perfectionists.
Yeah. They what I do is I do thumbnails. I do small thumbnails to kind of rough out basically what I'm trying to come up with if it's something new, and then from there I'll take pages and I'll do blue line and I draw that way. I use both sides of my paper. Some people don't because comic book artists like to sell their artwork.
Yeah.
For me, if it's not Marvel or DC stuff that I've done, people don't seem to be really interested in my artwork. So I'm like, whatever. I'm just using both sides because I don't feel like spending money on paper,
Yeah.
But yeah, like I have a buddy of mine. He has pads of stuff, and he'll draw a little bit. He doesn't you don't erase because that's taking away the vision if you erase, man. You can't erase your lines even if it's not good. And I'm like, you drew 2 lines and you're ripping up the paper. What are you doing? Because the energy's in the paper, man. What?
He's a naturalist.
Right.
Like a hippie.
Naturalist.
I'm like, okay. I asked him one time, like, so how much do you smoke a day? He's like, I don't smoke at all, man. The high that I have is in my artwork and the joy that I bring whenever I create.
That's definitely
I'm
hemp
like, maybe,
paper. That hemp
I'm
paper.
like, maybe you should smoke. Because, yeah,
I know,
it's
right?
just like, you know.
Wow. Well, is he good?
Yeah, he's great, but he doesn't draw big. He draws small. Like he draws like I'd say maybe 6 inch by 6 inch stuff is what he draws, right?
Yeah.
But he uses like 11 by 17 pieces of paper to draw on because he needs that space to get things in perspective, man. And just he tries to. He is like there's like artsy, fartsy. Like, that's his thing. You know what I mean? I'm like, that's cool. Like, you want to be artsy? That's great. Whatever you want to do, but like, literally, you can't buy smaller paper. Like, it's okay. No, man, I need space.
You should write Post-its.
Yeah,
you can do Post-it note art.
He cannot understand the stuff that's like, how can you do that, man? It's just all those lines just gives me a headache. And I'm like, because that's just what I do. I'm drawing people.
Everyone has a style.
Yeah.
Everyone has their style. What would your style be? What would you call your style?
It's it's a superhero-ish sort of style. Yeah. It is from comic book terms. I am an Alan Davis, Gary Frank, Ken Neary artist. It is clean, organic lines I like to do. I like to do a lot of black and whites. I'm not afraid to throw a lot of blacks on an image. Do you guys know Bernie Wrightson?
Nope. Not off the top of my head.
So Bernie Wrightson was a comic book artist. He was one of the top horror artists ever. When we're done talking, Google him, and you will be amazed at the art that he created. Just doing line work and ink. The blacks and the line works and stuff is just tremendous. That's the kind of artwork that I like to do. I want to be able to do the piece of artwork and see it. And then if you add color, it only enhances the actual image. It's not carrying the image.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
You know, back in my day, when we did comic books, black and white was basically you finish the page, the color was added on just as spot colors, just to add something to the book itself. That was it. Now coloring has really gone advanced, and it's really kind of taken over as the art medium, and inker's kind of secondary. But that's the kind of art that I like to do. I like to do very clean, but also very gritty, because black and white affords you to do both. The texturing and everything that you're able to accomplish in black and white rivals nothing, as far as I'm concerned.
Something I was always curious about with artists and creators. Do you still have the first piece of art that you really were proud of? Do you still have that piece of art?
Sure do. Yeah, I got my portfolio right here.
I knew it. A lot of artists do that. It's just something that, it's that pride moment, and then you actually can see where you developed from too. You can see what techniques have evolved. But your first piece of art, you're like, wow, I did that first time, and then it just grows from there. Like, do you remember your first?
It's the seed of potential that you have that says, yeah, I could actually possibly do this because I did this. I'm sure I can do more if I tried it. It's that moment.
Yeah. Well, when did you first get that, that art bug? Like, did you learn it in high school, or did you go to like a art school?
Actually, I started when I was 6. My grandfather was a really good artist. He painted and he could sculpt. He did it's called woodworking when we went to school. It was called something completely different when he was teaching, but he did a lot of woodworking, carving, all that. Mm-hmm. And he had a cottage up in upstate New York that we would visit in the summertime. No TV. We would fish and whatever. But if it rained, not a whole lot you could really do.
Yeah.
So I liked how he did artwork, so we started drawing ducks, drawing birds. That's how I started actually doing artwork and studying outside, drawing trees and everything like that. And then I got into the fantasy reading, like Piers Anthony and all that, and then D&D. That got me into the whole different things. I was drawing everything fantasy, monsters, minotaurs, whatever. And then I got into comic books when I was 14, Started taking art classes around then. And then, the rest was history. I was in college with my friend Tom, the disgustingly talented artist. And there was a show in Syracuse, close to where I lived. Bart Sears was going to be there. Bart Sears is a comic book artist who does extremely dynamic anatomy characters. He knows more about the anatomy than pretty much anyone. The stuff that he does is absolutely terrific. And he was working on Justice League Europe. Are you familiar with the DC character Power Girl?
Power Girl?
Power Girl.
I
No.
don't think I've heard of
No,
that.
I don't
Short
think so.
hair, blonde, really big tits. Like, really good. So, I wanted to meet Bart Sears, my favorite artist. I wanted a Power Girl sketch. I wanted boobs because he draws boobs really good. So, I got some of my samples just on the off chance I wanted to show a couple of people. And I'm waiting in line, and I finally get to him, and I'm so excited. I'm talking to Tom, and he gives it back to me, and it's literally a headshot from here up. And I'm like this. I'm looking down, I'm looking at him, looking down, looking at him, and he notices me looking, and he goes, "What?" I go, "Power Girl." He goes, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Tits. This is a headshot. What is it?" He's like, "You know how many of these I've drawn today?" I'm like, "Well, like that's a problem."
I know, right?
He's like, "What, are you an artist?" And then I'm all slack jawed, like, and he saw my samples, and he's like, "Oh wait, let me see your samples." So like mortified, I'm like, "Oh my god!" I gave my samples to him. It had this kind of look like, Now Tom was the penciler, I was the inker. I was trying to be an inker, so he actually stopped and looked at it for a minute. Now next to him on his left was Graham Nolan, who was working on Hawkworld. Graham went on to work on Batman for a long time, and then Tom Lyle was working on Robin at the time.
Wow.
So they both looked at it, wrote a couple things down. It got passed right down the table. Different artists. Got passed back to me and they go, "So here's some things that we think you need to work on. But if you work on these things, you could be a comic book artist. So just work on these things and we'll see you next year." That was the moment. I was like, "I'm going to be a comic book artist." And I'm telling my friends and I'm telling my parents, and this is going to be great. And that's kind of how I decided to try to break into comic books. Perfect timing, though, because in 1995, when Image and everything really started, it kind of blew up the market. And it was kind of tough getting into comic books. But people use a lot of inkers, and that's kind of like what I did. I put out my first book, actually, Created and Wrote, back in '94. It was called Seventh Millennium. It was based on my D&D characters. It was sold nationwide and made a profit.
Nice.
Yeah,
All
it
you
was
can ask
amazing. I'm like, well, this is easy.
It's so easy.
I'm 24. Yeah, I can make a living at this. See, look, Mom, Dad, I made a profit on this, blah, blah, blah. They go, "Why don't you have a backup plan? Why don't you just, get your degree in design just on the off chance it doesn't work?"
Right.
I'm like, "I don't need to do that." But I got my degree in design, and while trying to break in, I worked in newspaper for about 5 years. Now, again, in the early 90s, there wasn't a lot of computer work. It was all market comps and everything.
Yep.
It was just starting coming to play. But I loved computers. It was amazing to me. Photoshop was like magic. You can do all sorts of cool stuff. So I learned Illustrator and I learned Photoshop while working in newspaper, learning everything. When I moved to Florida, I did battle simulations for Lockheed Martin on Photoshop, 8 hours a day. It was such a tough job. It was just horrible. Making so much money playing Photoshop, it was tough. But from there, I worked for Walt Disney World in creative marketing for a while, and then I worked for Universal Studios in their marketing department, and then International Speedway Corporation NASCAR for a while, and then I was an art director for Verizon, and then I did work for Warner Brothers and DC Licensing, and then I was creative director for about 8 years, and then I semi-retired, and then I got into film. So that's kind of how it happened.
Nice.
So that was my backup plan. Yeah.
How did you first get into film? Like, what was your first role or first dab into the film industry?
So Ken Anthony was making a film and he needed a bodyguard. I'm like, "Oh, I can do a bodyguard." So I was a bodyguard. And then Rick Danford was making the Book of Nightmares and needed a ghoul. So I thought, "Oh, I can get my face painted? Really? Cool." So I did that. And I said, "This is kind of fun." And I found out there's a lot of film stuff going on. I'm like, "Well, what do I do? How do I?" They go, "Well, you just need to start auditioning." I'm like, well, okay. I mean, and when I was in high school, I was voted most theatrical. I did musicals and everything, all through whatever. But again, I'm in upstate New York. I thought that I'm never going to do films. I just kind of put it aside. I'm like, if I can do some films, that's amazing. Okay. So I started trying auditioning for some things. And I started booking a couple of roles. And then I actually got footage for a reel. And I made it. And I got my first agent. And then
Wow.
there you go. And then making films, actually writing and trying to make a film, there's a 30-day film challenge. And that's how my first film, Love, Hate, The Amazing Life of a Comic Book Artist, came about. I dug really deep for that, man. I had to do a lot of research because it's, it's a stretch. Well, I wanted to be able to write a film script. I wrote plenty of comic book scripts, like tons. It was a completely different animal because I didn't have to add so much detail.
Yeah.
I could break things down, and then when I was on set, I could describe what I was looking to do. But I knew nothing about making the film, like nothing. So Austin McKinley, I met 10 years prior. He was just breaking into comic books. And we kind of met up again about 4 months ago on Facebook. He had his own film stuff. He was making films. He was still doing some comic book stuff. I'm doing comic book stuff. And I said, hey, if we can ever work together, that would be great. Fast forward to this. So I said, hey, man, listen, I got this idea for a comic book idea. I sent him the script. He liked the script. Said, I don't know anything about making a film, directing. I know nothing. He goes, well, I tell you what, I'm working on this book called Nightmare World. I need an anchor for the series that's going through Devil's Due. I'll trade you. You help me with this, I'll help you with that. Great. So he helped me make this film. We did the film challenge, and then that's kind of how I made my first film. I've done 4 other films that I wrote and directed in. A couple I was actually acted in too. I was behind the camera. I devour everything. I try to do whatever medium I'm trying to get into. So I have a full understanding. Like when I did comic books, I've done writing, I've done penciling, I've done inking, I've done lettering, I've done coloring. I did the whole process. So I have an understanding how everything is put together.
Yep. Right.
So when I'm getting art teams, I know what I'm looking for. Same thing with film. Since that first film, I'm like, all right, well, I need to learn how to make a film in order to write and create a film because I have no idea. So I was a sound guy. I was first AD. I was a PA. I did all that.
Oh, yeah.
So I had an understanding, not only as making a film behind the camera, but also as an actor. It helped me tremendously because once I'm on set, I'm understanding where lights are, so my body position could be a certain way. I know which volumes I need to speak, so the sound guy gets the best sound. All that makes me solutions to their problems, which makes me higher, which is ultimately what I was looking to do. So to answer, long answer to your question, I did background work to give me the bug to get me into this crazy industry.
Yep.
And but luckily I've worked with some big films and done some cool stuff so far.
Nice.
Oh yeah, it's always a long road, but something that Chris and I both very advocate for, like whatever you can do on a film set, if you get on set, just do it. Like you said, you were doing lighting, sound, AD, so that's basically what we pride ourselves on because we did everything from the beginning of making a film to all the way to even acting in a film. Chris has acted in a couple films.
What?
You've been in a couple films of yours, have you? Do?
Acting?
Yeah.
I don't act.
Oh, I know you don't,
Like,
but you
I'm
have done
not good at it. I don't know what happens. Like,
it.
it's weird because when I direct, I can basically act out like what I'm trying to
Oh yeah.
give to the actor. I can do that. But then like when I'm in front of the camera, like I shut down. Like it's so
Yeah.
weird. Like I shut down and I'm like, I feel like I'm an idiot in front of the camera. So
Yeah.
I just said, you know what? I don't think this is for me.
Yeah, for me, I started in high school as in theater. I was in radio broadcasting. I was on the radio station for the high school, and I was also the news anchor for the TV show in high school. So I started there, and then I got an agent in Philadelphia, and then I did a TV show. I was just in front of the camera. Then I started working behind the camera, shooting with the camera, doing lighting, sound, and everything. And that's pretty much when I moved to Florida. I pretty much did the exact same thing when I met Chris a couple years ago with Sean, and then I just started doing whatever I could behind the camera. Did a couple things in front of the camera when we were in a pinch, but whatever I could do in the industry, I usually just try to get my feet wet and dive right into whatever I could. And
Yeah.
honestly, that's what we advocate for. Like, if anyone, new actor, anyone trying to get into the industry, get on a set any way you can, whether it's just holding a mic or holding a pack or AD or just any type of assistant, just to see how the film process goes.
Yeah.
The script supervisor, just literally anything on the set, just to so you can get an idea of what you're getting yourself into, and then just trying to learn the different roles. I think it's something that every actor or new actor or anyone trying to be in the film industry should do, is just do anything on the set. And that's something that we just tell over and over and over again, because there's just not enough of that. A lot of people don't understand the struggles that just a simple lighting guy, but you know what, he's got to understand different reflections. He's got to know how to put somebody in the right light, and so the cinematographer could put him in the right shot. So there's a lot involved in it that actors and new people are just breaking into the industry don't understand, like how much work actually goes into. Yeah, it might be just a guy shining a light on a face to get a good shot, but you know what? Those people who are shining that light and shooting that camera have experience of, so they can get that perfect shot. The actor doesn't understand that, and that's that's something that I don't get, why they just don't try it themselves, and so they understand like what we go through. Like, our experience is what gives us that. Well, that too. But our experience gives us the talent to, put them in the right light, so we can actually make them look good on camera. Same thing with the makeup artists.
Right.
So what's interesting is, and being in the second thing, and for new people, they're in a rush. They have a certain thing that they want to do, and they're trying to rush to get there, and they're not enjoying the journey. In comic books, I made lots of mistakes, and I came off as needy a lot of the time to prove that I was actually able to, and I was worthy of, and this, I wasn't enjoying the process and everything like that. So when I decided to really do this, I talked to my wife, and she goes, "Okay, let's give it 3 years." And I said, "Okay, I'm going to walk down this path, and I'm going to enjoy the path, and I'm going to try not to get stressed out. I'm going to just, whatever happens, good or bad, I'm just going to enjoy it." You know what I mean? Either way, it's going to be the experience that I want to be able to enjoy. And going from that mindset has helped tremendously. You know what I mean? People don't want to work with needy people or aggressive people or, that sort of thing. Right. And I found out afterwards, and I apologized to a few editors that I knew back in the day, because I was really kind of like, I need, and you don't need, you want, because for some reason it needs to fill something. So anything that I work on, I'm very thankful for. But I make choices of things that I want to work on too. That's my luxury. You know what I mean? Like, I want to do all these things. I want to work on these productions. I choose to work behind the scenes, whatever, because this industry, this craft, I want to know more about. A lot of people, they just want to act. And that's fine if that's what they want to do. As an artist, you want to make comic books, you want to just draw, that's fine. If you want to make a living at that, but are you going to get true joy out of the thing that you're working in? I don't think so. You're not going to get true joy in the film industry unless you have a full understanding of what's all involved with it. Because you can't appreciate everything that's involved in the film, right?
Yep.
If you're doing one thing and you don't know about the others, you don't know everything else that goes into it. It's all about working in the industry and then being a star in the industry. Yeah. My wife and I talked about this last night. She goes, "So what would you like to be?" I said, "I want to work. I don't care about being a star." Like, I've been quote unquote famous in the comic book industry when I worked on Iron Man and stuff like that. I had a lot more fans than I do now. I have loyal fans that still to this day, for whatever reason, come and have me sign books and have me do draw stuff, which is just mind-boggling to me. But I want to work on cool projects. I want to work with cool people. I want to work on things that will resonate for years to come. I don't care about awards. I don't care about being in front of camera or all that crap.
Yep.
You know what I mean? That's not my deal. That's not my jam.
Yeah,
to me, that's not what I'm.
That's how
I don't need
just want-
validation.
I just want people to
Absolutely.
watch my stuff. Like I don't
Yeah.
care
Yeah.
if I
Yeah.
win Best Actor. Or that,
Yeah, accolades
Whatever.
are not needed, are not necessary. We just do it for. But also the new people, they have different expectations. They have these outlandish expectations or like, it's just weird what they like. I want to, act in this movie and be famous. I'm like, no. You know how many people that want to be famous? Like, you have to have realistic expectations, and people that have been doing this, doing the different, the roles that we have, like we have our expectations are realistic. We understand, well, this may not, make us get, give our big break, but you know what? It's going to pay my bill next year, or it's going to, pay my bills, or it's going to put me onto the next platform. But we have realistic expectations. These new people, they have these expectations are, I'm going to be famous in 2 years. Like, okay.
Well, but that falls back into what we had talked about: talent versus, you know what I mean, the ability of learning the processes in order to make money and make a living at it. You know what I mean?
Right.
To go back to baseball, most baseball players, they did it because they loved the game and they could make some money. They weren't trying to be superstars. They loved the game, and you can make money at it too. Great. You know what I mean? That's why they didn't get paid super amount. That's why they didn't have super agents and all that's going on. You can go in thinking that you're going to do that, and if you work hard enough, you might be able to. But realistic expectations is the cornerstone of everything that I do creatively. And I tried to set that up in the very beginning. I have no expectations on everything I do when it comes to film. I hope things go well, and I try to do the best that I can, and I try to improve each time I'm on set or I'm acting in something or I'm making something. As a creative person, if you're not growing and you're not expanding and you're not improving, then what's the point of being creative overall, in my opinion? There's no joy there. Yes. Is it a job? Yes. Sometimes does it sucks? Yeah, it does. That's the realistic expectations of it. There's a lot of new comic book artists that come up and they can draw really great female figures. And I'm looking through their portfolio. I said, this is great. This is fantastic stuff. I said, so can you draw guys? Yeah. I don't see any samples of that. Well, I can't. I appreciate you telling me that, but I don't see it. So draw some guys and maybe show me that. Can you draw backgrounds? I don't really like backgrounds. Well, then you're not working in comic books. Well, what do you mean? Back in the 90s, how it worked was, if you worked for Marvel or DC in the bullpen, you got hired as either a penciler or an inker, and you either did background pencils, or you filled in blacks, or you inked backgrounds, and you showed you can make deadlines, and then they moved you up to actually doing a page.
So
and then they had to do an issue.
You go from light poles and fire hydrants to trees to
stepping stones. You had to prove. When you were an indie comic book person, you didn't get paid. You had to show that you could make deadlines, not a deadline, deadlines. That you could show that you could actually do it. Nowadays, you have people that are expecting $100 to $150 a page who've never been published.
Right.
Ever.
That's like the actor that wants $100 a day or $200 a day, and he's never acted in anything in his whole life. And then people get pissed off when the filmmaker who has a $2,000 budget isn't paying the actors. But they're all new people. Like, that's how I started. I started with a $900 budget on my first movie, and I got people that had never acted before, and I gave them an opportunity to be in a movie. And the movie sucked ass, but everybody it was fun. Like, it was all passion. Everybody wanted to be there, did their best, and we made a movie. And nowadays it seems like, if you're not paying your actors, you get crucified. And my thing is, like, if you don't want to be in the movie, nobody's making you be in this movie. Just say no. I see it all the time in these Facebook groups where somebody will post an ad for, hey, I need 3 actors for a movie, a short movie, and you get IMDb credit and food or whatever. And then they just get like destroyed by all these comments of people just saying, hey, you need to pay your actors, and what? That's bullshit. I'm not working on this movie for that, and all this stuff. I'm looking at this. I'm like, don't. Nobody's making you. But there is somebody that would be ecstatic to be on this movie for no money. Like they don't care,
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's why it's different now. That I've been making movies 11 years now, and it's different now. Like, and now we try to pay our actors like we want to, but sometimes you can't pay them that much because you don't have the budget, and
Yeah.
that's when the actor has a choice. Do I want to be in this movie for $20 a day or not? And if you don't, great. If you do, we want to have
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
And it's just crazy to me that people just go off on these filmmakers, and we're all in the same boat. Like nobody has any money. We're all wanting to do movies, and we do our best to make it happen. And to get crucified for that is just like, it's ridiculous to me, and it's very frustrating. Like I said before, I can't post for a casting without somebody jumping on the post, commenting about whatever. Oh, do you have a what do they call it now? If there's nudity on set, it's an
Intimacy coordinator.
intimacy coordinator. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? An intimacy coordinator on my $3,000 movie? I've made 8 movies and they've all had nudity. I'm the intimacy coordinator. How about that? I'm the director. I'm the intimacy coordinator. So I don't like it. Like I don't get it. And I understand that there's a lot of directors out there that have problems and they're predators or whatever. I completely get it. But just to get I feel like I get harassed about that stuff, and I'm just like, Jesus Christ, man! Like, leave me alone. If you want to be on my movie, awesome. If you don't, then awesome. That's great. Just make your choice.
Well, those are what we call the trolls in the industry. They
God, it
just
drives me
want
crazy.
they just want to be involved in a conversation and just
Right.
want to be heard.
But it's like they act like I've never made a movie before. I've never casted a movie before, and I'm like, I have my system. This is what works for me. Leave me alone. Just leave me alone.
Yeah.
So maybe it's touchy for me. I don't know why. But
Who hurt
it's
you?
annoying.
Who hurt you?
I know, right?
Are you? Do you
I
need
get
to talk to
upset.
somebody?
Okay.
I get upset about it. Anyway,
You all right?
I'm a-
PTSD come
yeah,
out?
let's switch the channels
Do
here.
you need to talk to somebody?
No,
Are
I'm
you
good.
okay?
I'm good. Let's switch channels. I'm assuming you have an amazing comic book collection.
I've had 3 amazing comic book collections. I've sold them all. I
You don't have
have
any
a
now?
couple of boxes of stuff that I really collect, and then mostly from friends and everything like that.
You don't
I
have any big collections or nothing, huh?
no, not so much anymore. I mean, I've had the last collection I had 50 boxes, and they were IKEAs and everything like that. I just have specific ones that I like to collect. Believe me, I'm itching. I'm itching to go and just buy out and get my X-Men, because at one point I had X-Men 56 all the way up to 400 and something.
Wow.
Oh wow! Yeah.
And I just,
Oh yeah. Well,
it's a slippery slope for me, man. If I start doing it again, it's just, there's lots. The money, the money that I'm going to spend on comic books,
Yeah,
I'd rather
definitely.
spend on film at this
It's
point,
definitely
or pay
expensive.
my artists or whatever. That's my investment. But yeah, Chris, back in the day, I had some I had Hulk 181. I had I had all the different keys, not like the ones, but
Yeah. It's funny because I just started collecting maybe 6 or 7 years ago, and I seem to look for the shit that nobody has. It's so frustrating. I collect all the horror comics from the early 2000s, Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street. They were small runs, and you can't find those things anywhere. So whenever I would go to Spooky or Comic-Con and somebody had them, I would just buy them. And they're expensive. The Halloween ones go for $40-$50 a copy.
Yeah.
And
those are the Devil's Due. The Devil Do run. Devil's Due.
Yeah.
Halloween.
Yeah. They had Night Dance and some other ones, and then Texas Chainsaw Massacre. But you can't find them anywhere. When my girlfriend was working, she worked for Duke Energy, and when she was there, her position, the person in Orlando left, and took a different position, so it was open, and she had to kind of run both centers. So she was driving to Orlando once a week, and I would go with her, and she'd go to work, and I'd hit all the comic book stores around the area, and there's a lot up in Orlando, and I would not find any. Like, it was crazy. And over the years, I've got probably 2 short boxes full of those ones, and I got most of them. You know Demolition Comics?
Yep.
Yeah. So he owned the one in Citrus Park Mall also. And I went into a store one day, and I was talking to him, and I was like, man, I was like, where are you hiding the horror comics? He goes, oh, you want the horror comics? He said, yeah, hang on. So he goes in the back, and he brought out a box, and they were all like foils and all these crazy comics from Texas Chainsaw and Friday the 13th. And I spent over $600 that day buying all of his freaking horror books. I spent my whole paycheck on comic books. It was ridiculous. But and now I'm looking for the Marvel hip hop covers, and can't find them anywhere. Like, I found one over the weekend, but they're apparently very obscure, and you can't find them anywhere.
eBay's the way to go, man. eBay's the way to go.
But I think it's more the thrill of the hunt than anything. Like digging through comics and oh my God, here it is. You know, I think that's more of the rush than actually just having it. You know what I mean? Because then it gets thrown in a box and you never see it again. So I think it's just the thrill of the hunt for me, at least. Trying to find these things all over the place. And then I'm about to finish the Ghost Rider Rise of the Midnight Suns set.
Oh, nice.
6.
Yeah.
I need the last Ghost Rider 32, I think. And I can't find that one anywhere. I got all the other ones. But I don't know. It's just fun for me that, you know, my kids are both into comics, so we kind of do that all together. And
it's a nice family
bonding moment.
Yeah, I don't have any hobbies like that. No. I think I just buy random stuff. I don't know. I have an addiction Amazon addiction problem, so I just buy everything from Amazon.
I have a massive toy collection. My whole office is just filled with toys. Like, you can't put anything else in that room. Like, it's getting kind of out of hand. But and again, it's more the hunt. Yeah, trying to find the stuff.
More importantly, Austin, do you have are you playing fantasy football this year?
No, I'm not.
Oh no!
I know. I missed it this year. There was a couple of people that invited me, and the past summer I was actually really busy with doing commercials and stuff like that, and I could not. The weekends they had me, I was booked. I couldn't do it. I'm bummed.
Yeah,
it's like my first year in like 5 years, dude.
So you get to watch football with no stress.
That's awesome. Well, normal stress, but it's just like.
But do you watch all the games? Because now with playing fantasy, I've been playing for 8 years.
I watch players. I don't really watch teams. I watch players.
Yeah, but I literally watch all the games. I'm like, throw to Godwin. Right. Like every single game.
Oh, I'm always after the fact of hitting YouTube for the highlights and seeing who does what, and I'm checking stat. I go to Bleacher Report. I'm like, okay, games, stats. I'm always looking at the stats and seeing what's what, how many sacks, and forced fumble, and every day, like every weekend. I'm like, that college I was going to do, and I'm like, nah, I can't do college. That's a whole other animal. I can't even.
Yeah, I can't get into college football. I just can only watch so many games that are 63-0.
I used to be really into college, and now I'm a Miami Hurricane fan, and now they're like awful.
Yeah,
and it's just hard to watch.
Take the good and the bad.
It's hard to watch.
Well, I'm a Giants fan. Feel for me. I'm struggling right now. I'm hurting. I'm bleeding.
Oh, you're a Giants fan?
Yes, I am.
It could be worse. You could be a Jets fan.
I said the same thing.
Yeah, he did say that. He actually said that about an hour ago. Yeah, he said that. But we're 0-3, so I don't know. I have not much to. I have not much to root for.
At least you're scoring a few points. The Jets are like.
Yeah, well.
Speaking of the Giants, how's Saquon doing? I know he came back from injury. He ran.
He had a decent game last game.
Yeah, he scored last week or this week, but they've been breaking him in slowly. Yeah. They've been giving him 10 to 11 carries a game. They've been giving it to Devontae Booker quite a bit, and then so they've been spreading it out a little bit. But Daniel Jones is actually doing pretty good. He's had only one turnover so far in 3 games. So he's actually he threw for 250. He didn't have a touchdown, but he threw for like 250 yards this week. Not many mental problems. He controlled the game. He ran for I think 50 yards. So he's doing what he can. Like he's actually getting better, but he's just not getting a lot of support through the rest of the team.
Dink and dunks.
Yeah. Well,
that's what. Did you see the Dolphins over the weekend? Jalen Waddle had 11 catches for 56 yards. I was like, how is that even possible?
Well,
he was averaging 4 yards.
Yeah.
He's a wide receiver.
Yeah.
4 yards a catch. I was just like, what in the hell? Like, that's crazy.
Well, if you played him on fantasy, he had 11 points.
Yeah, I know. And then
PPR.
And the quarterback, he had 32 completions and for like 219 yards or something. I was like, oh my god.
Well, Tua's hurt, so
I must have been throwing a little 2-yard pass.
He might have not been like primary in the game plan, the quarterback, because like when Tua went down, they were hurting. They didn't know what to do.
He was going to be the guy.
Yeah. I don't know
Tua
why.
Hurt last week.
I wasn't a fan with.
Brissett's terrible.
Yeah.
Name a good Ohio State quarterback.
Yeah, I don't have that.
Yeah, I'll wait.
Hey, you got Fields on the Bears. He's going to be an amazing quarterback. Yeah. He's going to be a Hall of Famer. He's going to.
Yeah. I think he threw for 1 yard.
Here's the thing with Justin Fields. He threw. His passing yards were 2 yards more than Justin Tucker's field goal.
Yeah.
Yeah. He threw for 68 yards.
That's nuts.
6 completions, 68 yards.
Yeah.
So, and I had a debate with my buddy because he was like, "Oh, Justin Fields is going to be the man." And I was trying to get Derek Carr from him, trade him, and he has Justin Fields. And I'm like, if you think Justin Fields is going to be so good, give me Derek Carr.
Yeah.
Give me him. I'll trade you for him. And he did. He ended up trading me for him, and he started Fields. And I told him, I was like, dude, I'm telling you, Justin Fields is going to be a bust. No, he's got all the tools, and he's so good. He's going to be great. I'm like, there are no Ohio State quarterbacks that have ever been good, ever.
Yeah. And, well, why do you think that is?
I don't know. It's weird, right?
Yeah. I don't know.
I think Art Schlichter back in the day was all right, but he had a gambling problem.
Before my time, buddy.
Yeah.
Before my time. Yeah. Well, my fantasy quarterbacks is Herbert and Stafford, so I'm hanging pretty good.
Right you're good.
Yeah, I'm hanging pretty good. My running backs, I have Eckler and who's my other one? I have
Mixon.
I have Mixon as my flex.
I know your team better than you.
I do. I can't even think who my number 2 running back is. But my wide receiver is doing pretty good. I have number 2s. I have Chris Godwin and I have Mike Williams. So I've been doing all right with the number 2 wide receivers.
Who's your defense?
Denver.
Okay.
I had Denver for the last 3 weeks. They've been doing pretty good. This week they got me 11 points, I think. But my kicker is.
Yeah, I got the Rams. So it was like Sunday was like, rooting against the Bucks. I don't root against the Bucks, but.
Yeah.
You know how it is. You're like, I want my team to win, but I also want the other guy to throw for like 1,000 yards.
Yeah. Yeah. I did that game 1 when we played Denver. Giants played Denver, and like I had the defense. I was like, I don't know. But you know what? They did all right, but it wasn't.
Right.
Bridgewater lit us up, which.
He's actually been playing good.
Yeah. What are they? They're
3-0. 3-0 too.
They're 3-0.
Bridgewater. Okay. So I'm a Minnesota Vikings fan.
Yeah.
And I despise our quarterback because he costs us $160 million guaranteed, which is just stupid, but whatever. But I'm a big Bridgewater fan. So happy he was actually able to come back and play.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm glad he's doing well in Denver. He just needed a good shot. So I'm happy for him with that.
I thought he was going to get it in New Orleans. I really did. Like, I really thought he was going to get that shot.
Yeah.
But I guess they gave it to Jameis, so I don't know.
Famous Jameis.
Yeah.
Which Jameis you gonna have? Which Jameis is gonna come up?
I know.
You never know.
Like 1 week he looks great, and then the next week he's chucking balls up for grabs.
Yeah.
Did you see that over the weekend? He threw the pass up for grabs. The guy caught it for a touchdown, and he went over to the sidelines, and the coach ripped his ass.
Yeah.
You get your ass ripped for throwing a touchdown.
Well,
pass.
it was like that flea flicker that Trevor Lawrence threw. Like, where are you throwing it? Yeah. The guy was right there.
Okay, so can we talk about that for a minute? Because first of all, I am a Florida Gator fan. I despise the coach. Despise him. He's such whatever.
Yeah.
So Trevor Lawrence comes and they're like, oh, Trevor Lawrence is gonna be great, he's gonna be whatever. He is getting lit up.
Yep.
Right.
He is getting destroyed.
Oh yeah, I think
And
it's a game plan.
It was funny because Urban Meyer last week said, "Man, the NFL is like playing Alabama every week." Yeah, we don't have the Citadel on the schedule.
You're not going to be playing Appalachian State.
Actually, Appalachian
exactly.
State's
Yeah.
Like,
You know,
what did he expect?
I don't know. It's
welcome to
weird.
the big boys.
Yeah,
You
right.
know,
He's never coached
I
in the
give
NFL, has he? No?
I give Myers 2 years, and then he's going to have a health-related something going on. He's going to have to retire
He'll pull a
again.
He'll pull a Saban. He'll play.
Did
he'll
USC
coach
hire a
to go
coach?
back to college.
Did USC hire a coach? I don't know.
I don't know.
He might jump ship and go there. It's like, you know what? I can't do this professional ball stuff. I'm going back to college.
He'll bail.
Yeah.
Well, no, he's going to go and he'll be an analyst for about 5 weeks, and then he'll just happen to just go ahead and do that.
Yeah.
You know, because he wasn't feeling well. He couldn't deal with the stress. But you know, USC, he'll do much. I just.
Yeah. Well, kind of like what Mike Mayock and John Gruden did. They did the analyst thing for like what, a couple weeks, 6 weeks, maybe a season.
I loved Gruden in the booth.
Oh yeah,
He's very
animated.
And he's
John Gruden actually did. He was making good money. He did really well at Monday Night Football. But when you get actually, hey, you want $100 million guaranteed to coach our team?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
You know. Yeah.
And
we're going to give you ownership in the team, and here's some money, and just okay.
Yeah.
And they're 3-0.
Yeah, I like Gruden. I really do. I've always liked Gruden.
I'm surprised Romo's not coaching. Like, he is
give it a little bit.
Amazing announcer. Like, he calls the plays before every play. He knows what they're going to do, and it's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
I am so stoked for him. I thought he was a good guy. I didn't like him as a quarterback. I think he was a good quarterback, not a great quarterback, but he is amazing analyst.
Yeah.
The stuff he's like prodigy. He just calls plays. He sees it way before it even starts. It's so cool to see.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's funny too.
Yeah. I actually like him more as an analyst than I did like him as a player. But then again, I'm a Giants fan, so that's a given.
Yeah.
But have you guys been watching the Eli and Peyton versions of the Monday Night
Football? No,
I
haven't. Like, where do you see that?
It's on ESPN 2.
Oh,
really?
Yeah, they played in unison with.
I actually
like
the Monday night announcers this year. It's Brian Greasy and the two other guys.
But they're funny. They brought on, but they bring on guests too to watch the game with them, and then do it.
I'll have to watch that one.
It's actually pretty funny. They
because
they have memes all day on Facebook.
Last year when they had Booger McFarland, oh my god, he was so bad.
Well, do you see the winner is the guy who has the most points?
Oh, he was terrible. I'll tell you a Booger McFarland story. I have a great Booger McFarland story. So, years ago, my cousin, he used to work for the Buccaneers a long time ago, and then he went on to coach. He coaches college and stuff. Anyway, he was like best friends with the video coach for the Bucs.
Mm-hmm.
So every year we would go to an away game, and we would get on the field. We'd watch the game on the field.
Right.
So one year we went to Washington, RFK Stadium, and it was when Clinton Portis played for Washington.
I was a big fan of Clinton Portis.
Gruden was coach. We had Joey Galloway, and I can't remember who the hell our quarterback was.
Was it Johnson?
It was post Brad Johnson.
Freeman. No, not Freeman.
No, before Freeman. I don't know if it was
Garcia. Jeff Garcia.
I don't remember who it was.
No, Sean. It was Sean. Shoot.
No, it wasn't Sean King. Sean King was with Dungy.
Oh.
It may have been Brad Johnson. It wasn't the year we went to the Super Bowl. It was the year.
Was it a Sims?
I don't know if it was a year after, 2 years after we won the Super Bowl. Anyway, that's no point in it. Anyway, I still remember the first play from scrimmage. They gave the ball to Portis, and he ran like 70 yards for a touchdown. I was like, it's going to be one of those days. So anyway, so during the game, Booger McFarland gets taken out, and he's like injured. And so it's halftime, and we go into the locker room, and right when you walk in the locker room, there's like all these tables set up where they do like exams and whatever. So Booger McFarland's laying on this table. Now this is a big 320-pound dude, right? Sitting on a table, and the doctor is pouring eye drops in his eyes because he had dirt in his eye. And Booger McFarland is screaming like somebody's killing him. And I was like, what the hell is going on here? Like, it was so weird seeing this giant guy cry like that because he had dirt in his eye. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah,
Ridiculous.
they're big teddy bears. They're
Actually, one of the games we went to on the field was the Giants game when it was like 60-mile-an-hour winds and Gronkowski threw the ball 50 times.
Was it in the Meadowlands?
Yeah.
We're notorious for that.
It was insane. Like pregame, the kickers were kicking field goals and the ball was going up in the air and coming back at them.
Yep.
Like, it was insane.
The Giant Stadium was very famous for that because we had the swirling winds. Like, you had to because they swirled.
You looked up in the air and there was all this trash swirling around the stadium. Like, it was crazy.
Famous for it. I used to go to those games all the time. I loved them.
Yeah, the field was trash though. Like, it was like the real thin AstroTurf that was like concrete underneath. Yeah, it was terrible.
Yeah, well, that stadium was built in like 1925.
It was funny before the game started. They were doing the national anthem, and me and my cousin were standing next to each other, and we hear, "Whoa, whoa!" And we're like, "What the hell?" Is that? We look behind us, and it was Bruce Gronkowski's first ever start, and he's puking his guts out behind us.
It's real down there. It's real down there.
We got our ass kicked that game.
Well, it is what it is. All right. Well, Austin, I appreciate you coming on the show. Thank you for joining us on Killer Collab Podcast.
No problem. So it's too bad we couldn't find Joe Davison.
Yeah, Joe. I paged him. He didn't respond.
He's like an adventure every week. He's an adventure.
Yeah.
Is Joe going to show up? Is he going to be late?
He didn't pick up the white phone. You never know.
We need the bat phone for.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you guys having me on. This was fun talking film and sports and everything. So,
absolutely. Like I said, we try to make it a good time on here. We didn't stop. It was really good. I appreciate it. Appreciated your time. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us at the Killer Collab Podcast. My name is Tone Deaf in Florida, Tony D. As always, Chris Lato to my left from Reaper Films.
See you.
Stay happy, stay healthy, stay safe.